Watch this. One simple change in direction turns your backhand rip from hitting the net into an unstoppable tier. Today I'm going to teach you how to rip the ball on the backhand side. The backhand rip is one of the harder techniques to master. A lot of players struggle with it. You can't find the right timing, the rhythm is off, and the ball keeps hitting the net. You try to use it in a match and it just won't come together. Sound familiar? Let me show you exactly how to fix that.
嗯，
When we're ripping backhand to backhand in a rally, most players only manage to stick the ball back. There's no real punch behind it. The key issue is that you're generating force incorrectly. Watch my racket position here. The contact point stays compact, close to the body. I'm not winding up with a big backswing. The power comes from a short, sharp action, borrowing the energy that's already in the incoming ball rather than muscling through it on your own.
你看养个兔子花，买兔子花瓣时，
Let me explain how to sustain a backhand rip rally. The number one rule: do not pull your hand back. You must learn to borrow your opponent's force. Watch, when my partner and I are ripping back and forth, we're both using the energy from the incoming ball. Neither of us is generating big power on our own. See that? We redirect the opponent's force. If you want to rally consistently with your partner, your timing and contact point must be correct. The moment you pull back too far, watch, the rally breaks down immediately. You can't find the ball anymore. Keep the stroke compact, stay in front of your body.
几个你就对不上点了，他一定是在身前死。你看。
The contact must happen in front of your body. Watch my position, the racket meets the ball right here, out in front, never beside or behind me. That's the foundation. If the ball gets past this point, you've lost the ability to redirect the incoming energy. Stay forward, stay compact. The stroke is short and the timing is early. Like this.
不能是往后引拍引的太大，或者是我们在身前撕的时候这样去拉手，这样也不行，明白了吗？大家把关注点一点，一定去借力直接撕它。那么我们撕的时候一定要注意，你看什么叫借力撕？
Next, what's the clearest sign you're borrowing force correctly? You're taking the ball on the rise. And what else? You're using minimal effort of your own. Borrow force, redirect, that's the principle. Let me demonstrate with multi-ball so you can see the difference clearly. Watch, this one is borrowed force, compact, early, redirected. Now this one is self-generated power, bigger swing, more effort, borrowed force. Self-generated, borrowed. Self-generated. Can you see the difference? The borrowed force version is shorter, earlier, and far more consistent.
借力发力，主动发力，借力发力，主动发力，借力发力，主动发力，借力发力，主动发力。能不能看出区别？
Can you see the difference between those two? Good. Now, why do so many players fail to connect cleanly in a rip rally? It's because every time you swing, your backswing is too large. You're pulling the racket too far back. When your opponent drives the ball with any pace at all, you simply can't meet it in time. Watch, my partner and I will rally again. Notice how small my stroke is. The racket barely moves backward before coming forward. That's how you stay on time.
对，小老师，我总跟别人撕不起来，来，咱俩对撕一个。原因就是你的点儿没对上，你看你总是，对不对？我们引牌太大了，然后对手稍微顶一点，你基本就合不上力了。你看我们俩，看。
See that? The rhythm stays completely stable. I'm not pulling my hand back with a big motion. Now let me ask you, how much force do you think I'm actually using in that rally? Think about it. How much power am I putting into each rip? The answer is about 30 to 50%. That's it. 30 to 50% effort on the backhand rip. Now watch what happens when I crank it up to 70 or 80% force.
球们，这个节奏是不是很稳定？
是的。
我是不是没有往回拉手太大？对不对？第二点就是我再问问大家，那你看我用了多少力量去对丝呢？大家感觉我用了多少力量去对丝？大家一定要把直播预约一下啊，因为这2天直播的时间不会很稳定。
对。
你看我用了多少力量去丝的？这个是反手丝啊，反手丝球。30、50，对，也就30%到50%。来，我要是用个70、80的力量，你看我们两个能撕成什么样啊
See, either my partner's ball comes back too hot for me to handle, or my shot flies past her. One of us always makes an error. When you force it, the rally collapses instantly. Even at the national team level, when they do sustained rip training like this, they hold back. They're not smashing. The emphasis is on friction, spin, not raw power. So the key to a quality backhand rip in training is prioritize the brush, not the bash.
这种训练对丝主要是什么？它主要以摩擦为主，不是发力。
对。
所以这也是我跟大家讲，也是我们业余球友的一个难点。昨天我记得特别清楚，昨天晚上我跟海哥直播，他说他正手拉不起来，我说你是不是没练下旋？他说对。我说那你怎么能？
Some of you say your shots have no quality, no real bite. Why? Because when you try to add power in a rally, either you miss or your partner can't return it. You're stuck between those two outcomes. That's exactly why you need multi-ball training. With multi-ball, you can push your power to the limit without worrying about keeping a rally alive. In live rallies, you can't sustain high intensity, it's unstable. The reason you can't add force effectively is simply that you haven't trained it enough. Your feel for power application isn't developed yet. So remember this principle. In live ball rallies, your priority is feel, consistency, rhythm, and ball sense. Do not go all out. Save the full power for multi-ball. In multi-ball sessions, push your single shot quality, wider angles, faster tempo, more force.
多球的时候，单板质量一定要出来。比如说，我们练多球的时候，角度可以大一点，速度可以快一点，发力可以多一点，明白了吗？你看。
Watch, at this intensity, my partner and I can sustain the rally. We're borrowing each other's force, redirecting it back. Very stable, and that's real training. Otherwise, if you just press forward flat, you max out at maybe 30 to 50% power. Go beyond that and your partner can't handle it. That's why controlled rallies build feel, while multi-ball builds raw power. Second, let's talk about positioning for the rip. Many players stand too close to the table. That's exactly why you net the ball or send it long. When you're just blocking, standing close works fine. But once you add friction for the rip, you get jammed. You need space, at least 1 forearm's length from the table. Watch from here. I stand at this distance and rip, the spacing is just right. Too far back is a problem, too close is a problem. Both kill your stroke. So the rule is, at minimum, 1 forearm's length of clearance. Only then can you build the proper framework and find the right contact point. If you crowd the table, the ball jams you before your backswing even starts. Do not stand too close. Now the second issue, for both forehand and backhand drives, and especially for the rip, your backswing must happen outside the table. Watch my partner here, there's a common fault creeping in. The racket starts drifting forward, closer and closer to the table. It keeps drifting until the stroke is just a push out front C. The arm never opens up, it's definitely just pushing. The racket stays pinned in front with no room to swing. Backhand has the same problem. Watch, first stroke is here, then it creeps forward, getting shorter and faster, losing all structure. For every single stroke, you truly must have space. Keep the racket outside the table's edge. For the forehand drive, you stand about 1 forearm away. The backswing loads outside the table, you drive force inward toward the table, then recover back outside. Watch like this, that's the standard forehand. For the backhand, same principle. Start outside, direct your force inward toward the table. Outside in, outside in. Watch the direction of force.
哎，我们来反手，这个就是标准的，明白了吗？反手也是往球台里面，看，在球台外往球台里面去用力。对，看。
That's the correct pattern. From outside the table edge, drive your force inward, then recover the racket back outside. Every single stroke must complete its recovery. If you skip the reset, your tempo accelerates out of control faster and faster until you dump the ball into the net. That's one reason for netting. The second reason many of you net the rip. Even though we've drilled the rip technique, you still can't sustain it. Let me show you up close why that happens.
我们今天主要教大家为什么这样啊？发球机我们得月底才会有卖的。快了。对，为什么我们撕下网？我们再给大家一个近一点的镜头看一下啊。
In the backhand drive and forehand drive, you don't use the wrist. It's only when you loop on the forehand or rip on the backhand that you engage the fingers and wrist. And even then, the movement is extremely small. Never exaggerate it.
第二个原因就是